Okay, so you're thinking about reading Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, but you're not sure if it's worth your time.
It can be tough to sort through all the hype.
Right. It's got over 250,000 ratings.
Well, that's where we come in. We've read through all the reviews for Part of Your World to give you an honest look at what to expect,
We'll cover the good and the bad.
so you can decide for yourself.
Perfect. So, where do we start?
Well, first, let's introduce the main players.
Okay, so who are they?
On one side, you have Alexis Montgomery. She's a successful surgeon in the city.
Sounds fancy.
Oh, and she comes from a wealthy family, but with that comes a lot of pressure to live up to their expectations.
I can see how that could be a struggle.
And then there's Daniel Grant.
Okay, what about him?
He's a carpenter, lives a pretty simple, laid-back life in Waconia, Minnesota.
Waconia, where's that?
It's a small town, about 40 miles west of Minneapolis.
So, a very different world than Alexis's high-pressure life.
Exactly. He's kind, genuine, content with his life. Total opposite of Alexis.
So it's one of those opposites attract kind of stories.
You got it. But the way Jimenez writes it, it feels fresh. A lot of readers were really into the romance between Alexis and Daniel.
They found it believable, even with their differences.
Oh, yeah. It was their differences that made it work. People loved how they complimented each other, supported each other. It felt genuine.
That's what you want in a romance novel, right? To feel like the characters actually belong together.
Absolutely. But it wasn't just the romance that grabbed people. A lot of readers found both Alexis and Daniel to be relatable characters.
In what way?
Well, take Alexis, for example. A lot of people really connected with her struggles trying to live up to her family's expectations.
Oh, yeah. That feeling of pressure to live a certain way, a life that's been planned out for you. It's something I think a lot of people can relate to.
Exactly. And Jimenez does a great job of showing Alexis's journey of self-discovery, breaking free from those expectations and finding her own happiness.
Sounds inspiring.
Oh, and we can't forget Jimenez's writing style. So many readers loved how engaging and witty it is.
A lot of reviewers mention the humor.
Right. And she manages to bring that humor even when dealing with some pretty heavy themes.
Like family pressure and societal expectations.
Exactly. She finds a way to keep it light, keeps the mood from getting too heavy.
That's a tough balance to strike.
Yeah.
Not every author can pull that off.
Yeah, and then there's the setting, Waconia, Minnesota. It's more than just a backdrop in this story.
What do you mean?
Well, readers consistently mention how the cozy, small-town atmosphere added to the story's appeal.
It makes sense. It creates a nice contrast to Alexis's hectic city life.
Right. It's a place where she can slow down, reconnect with herself, figure out what really matters.
Okay, so it sounds like Part of Your World really delivers for romance lovers.
For a lot of people, yeah. But no book is perfect, right?
Right. So what about the other side of the coin? Were there any criticisms?
Oh, yeah. There were definitely some things that didn't work for everyone. For one, some readers found the pacing a bit uneven.
In what way?
Well, some parts felt like they dragged a bit. Other parts felt rushed. It wasn't consistent.
I can see how that would be frustrating.
Yeah, and then there was the romance itself. While a lot of people loved it, some readers found it a bit too predictable.
Like they could see where things were going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially with the romance aspect. If you like your love stories full of surprises, this one might not be for you.
Okay, so the romance, while heartwarming for some, might feel a bit formulaic for others. Anything else?
Well, this one's a bit more subjective, but some readers had issues with Alexis's family.
Really? But we were just talking about how relatable her struggles with them were.
Right, and for some readers, they were relatable, but others found them a bit over the top.
Over the top in what way?
Their negativity and manipulation. Some people felt like it was just too much, too unrealistic.
It's funny how different readers can have such varying reactions to the same characters.
It really is. It just goes to show that there's no accounting for taste. Even those who had some criticisms, they still said that it was an engaging story.
Yeah.
Emotionally resonant.
And a lot of readers were really touched by Alexis's journey, like
Yeah.
her emotional depth.
Absolutely. A lot of people connect with that theme of, family expectations, societal pressures, especially for women who are, navigating careers and family.
Yeah, it's not just a light and fluffy romance.
Not at all.
It deals with some real issues.
It does. And it's interesting because even though she tackles those tougher topics,
Yeah.
she does it in a way that's hopeful,
Right.
uplifting.
And that's where her writing, I think, really shines. Like finding that balance
Yeah.
of the heavy stuff,
Right.
but also keeping it light and fun.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about Daniel for a second.
Okay.
A lot of readers loved his kindness and genuine nature.
Oh, yeah. He's like the perfect book boyfriend, supportive, understanding,
Yeah.
content with his life.
Totally.
Doesn't try to change Alexis.
Accepts her for who she is.
Exactly. And encourages her to, be happy.
It's interesting how his contentment with the small town life is a contrast to Alexis's ambition.
Yes. And that's what allows Alexis to see a different way of life that prioritizes, connection and community and genuine happiness.
What about the setting of Waconia?
Oh, readers loved it. One reader said, it's a place where you can breathe again.
Wow.
Jimenez really captures that small town charm, that slower pace of life, that peace and tranquility. Readers felt transported.
Like they were actually there.
And a lot of them said that they wish they could visit Waconia.
I can see why it sounds so peaceful.
It does.
So the setting almost becomes a character itself.
Absolutely.
Giving Alexis that chance to escape.
Yes.
And find herself.
Exactly.
We talked about some of the criticisms like the pacing, predictability of the romance. But what about those people who just absolutely loved the book?
Well, a lot of them called it a feel-good read. Escapist. They loved that Jimenez created a world that's both relatable but also aspirational.
Right.
And they liked the heartwarming romance, the charming setting, the happy ending.
It sounds like this book was just a really positive experience for a lot of people.
It was one reader said it was like a warm hug on a cold day.
Oh.
That's so sweet.
It is.
Just comforting and hopeful.
What about Jimenez's writing style?
Very engaging, witty, often hilarious. People loved her characters, the dialogue, the humor, the authenticity.
Did any of the humor stand out to you?
Yeah, there's one scene where Alexis is trying to explain to her friend why she's attracted to Daniel.
Okay.
And she says he's like a walking Pinterest board of rugged masculinity.
Okay.
If he wore flannel and owned a chainsaw, I'd probably spontaneously combust.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
It is classic Jimenez.
Yeah.
Funny, self-aware, but it also captures that feeling of unexpected attraction.
Yeah, you don't expect to be attracted to someone.
Yeah.
But suddenly you are...
Exactly. And she does it in such a funny way. And that's what makes her book so enjoyable.
So we've talked about the heartwarming story, the relatable characters, the charming setting, the witty writing. But there are some potential drawbacks too, right?
There are. Yeah. Like we talked about the pacing and the predictability.
So it might not be for everyone.
It might not be if you're looking for something fast-paced with a lot of twists and turns.
Right.
Or if you really hate stories with overbearing families.
You might want to skip this one.
You might want to skip this one. But if you enjoy a heartwarming romance with a little humor
and small town charm,
then you might really like Part of Your World.
It's a story about finding love in unexpected places.
Absolutely.
Breaking free from expectation.
Yes.
And figuring out what matters.
Exactly.
We've really dug into Part of Your World.
We have.
Talking about the romance, the criticisms about pacing and character development.
Right.
Seems like this book gets a lot of different reactions.
It does, and that's what I think is so interesting about these conversations. It shows how subjective reading can be, what one person might find predictable.
Right.
Another person finds comforting.
Exactly. And we all bring our own experiences and preferences to the table.
Absolutely.
When we read.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong answer.
No.
When it comes to whether you'll enjoy a story or not.
But I think it's safe to say that Part of Your World really resonated with a lot of readers.
Especially romance lovers.
Especially those who are looking for something heartwarming.
With a little bit of humor.
A dash of escapism.
You mentioned escapism.
I did.
And that seemed to be a theme that came up a lot in the reviews.
It did.
Why do you think this book provided that for so many people?
I think it offers a kind of wish fulfillment, you know? Alexis escapes her high-pressure life.
Right.
Finds love with a kind, genuine man.
Who appreciates her.
Exactly. And it all takes place in this, idyllic, small town that feels like a world away from our everyday stresses.
It's like a modern-day fairy tale.
It is a little bit.
Career-driven heroine finds her happily ever after in an unexpected setting.
Exactly.
What about you? Did anything about this book stand out to you?
I was really struck by the way Jimenez portrays family relationships.
Yeah.
Alexis's struggles with her parents' expectations. They felt very real and relatable.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a reminder that even successful adults, can still be affected by those family dynamics.
I think that's what makes her character so interesting.
Yeah.
They're not perfect.
No.
They're flawed.
They make mistakes.
But they're also capable of growth.
And that's what makes the story satisfying to read.
Yeah.
You see them overcome these challenges.
Find happiness.
Exactly.
So Part of Your World sounds like a good choice for those who like romance-engaging characters and a charming setting.
It is.
A feel-good story.
That offers a nice little escape from reality.
But like with any book, it's good to know what you're getting into. If you're looking for a fast-paced thriller,
or a romance with a ton of twists and turns,
yeah, you might want to skip this one.
You might want to skip this one.
But if you want something heartwarming,
with some humor,
relatable characters,
charming setting,
give Part of Your World a shot.
You might really like it.
And if you're looking for a way to experience this story,
Audible's got you covered.
They have a fantastic selection of audiobooks.
And you can sign up for a free 30-day trial.
Using the link in the description.
You'll get a free audiobook so you can start listening to Part of Your World right away.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment.
Let us know what you think.
We always love hearing from you.
Happy reading!